Welcome back. It's Modern Relics Podcast. I'm Angel, he's Lucky, and Paul is back once again. Welcome to the show. It is always good to have you back. I'm a man of the people. I'm in the streets, as it were, from time to time. And people are like, man, who's this lithe, smooth, sexy dude that's frequently sleeveless and often wears headbands? Are you getting replaced on your own show? And I said, yeah, I think so. That would be
a great
I don't
smile.
know about that. Those are some big shoes to fill, sir.
No, we're stoked to have you back, dude. It's been super fun, and it's always glad to have a second set of eyes on stuff when we're going at it. So, welcome back, Lucky, Paul. What's happening, boys? What's going on? What's new?
Not much. Just in the thick of it for election season.
Yeah.
Most of my wife's precinct has been walked. I'm fairly confident that she will most likely take the seat on the Central Committee. And now we're kind of working to ensure some other victories in the Central Committee. The state stuff is kind of running itself, and the local kind of commissioner stuff. It's pretty well handled, but the real contention is for those seats that are the most grass level seats to kind of steer the Central Committee. So I think we've got some pretty good momentum. And like I think I said last week, we only need 10 to 12 of those seats to basically shift the pendulum back and forth for reason, and go, this side is making more sense or that side's making more sense. And so I think we're on track to do that, which is good, but it is also bringing the ire from one side in particular, but both sides, but one side in particular, the current incumbents who are about to lose the reins of power that they so desperately hold on to for the sake of holding on to power, not because they want to be servants to the people. And so it is one of those things that they are now escalating their attack vectors on anybody who they deem as a threat, to the point where they're just now making up stuff. They're just lying. And they always have, but now it's just like they're doing it so flagrantly and publicly that it's putting more of a spotlight on them for people who've known us for, a decade to two decades. And
I'm a policy first, party line second type of dude anyway. So absolutely. I think the approach is spot on. Question: when these seat members do lose their rings of power, do they then become the ring wraiths? Where they stalk around who has the ring forever and ever, like they did on that little Peter Jackson show that came out a little while ago?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. They formed together under a new caucus that they've already set up as a backup plan called the Kootenai Freedom Caucus, which hilariously is KFC.
Yeah, killer barbecues, I'm sure.
Yeah. The chicken references are abounding, but we also call them they've got an eagle on there, and so we call them on their little emblem, and so we've switched it out to an iron eagle because that's kind of the way that they lean.
Oh,
but
yikes.
It's either we can either go chickens or iron eagles or whatever. Yeah. There's a whole bunch that we can.
Instead of wheat sprigs, he has like little chicken drumsticks in his claws or something.
Yeah. So They've now resigned themselves to as ring wraiths to then collect themselves down into that little coalition there. So I'm sure that they will try to strike and do damage from there as well. I don't think we've seen the end of them, but that's okay. I'm not really worried about that. So outside of that, I don't know, just kind of trucking along. It's warm here. Not as warm as it is down there, but it is. We're in the low 80s right now, which is great.
Yeah.
Same here.
I'm in the low 100s.
But it's making my my weekly security shifts a little bit more comfortable because I'm not standing out in snow or rain or wind and cold. It's been a little bit more comfortable in that regard.
Nice.
So
when it gets up into temperature, I use over the summertime when I'm doing decks and stuff the neck fan cooler thing. It's just enough with those little fans blowing on your jugulars right here. It's enough to knock it down a couple degrees and kind of help you stay cool. So highly recommend those.
So I bought some of those like gelatin arm sleeves that you can throw in the freezer because I have some joint issues on my right arm. And I put one of the frozen ones around my neck when I was sitting on the couch and damn near fell asleep. I was like, oh, this is great. This is the best. Unusual. How about you, Paul? What's new? What's good in the hood? Anything crazy popping off in the deep Northwest?
I'm working on a job that's on an island in the middle of a lake. Yeah. And the homeowner's daughter and her friend took the dinghy over with it's a Timu boat motor. It looks like a post hole digger motor. Yeah. And it just so happens to have a prop at the bottom of the shaft. And it runs about as much too. But a homeowner had run a braided cable through it so you could lock it up at night with the padlock and a bungee cord. They were driving out in front of me. I'm on the pontoon boat, much bigger boat. It's got like a 30 horsepower motor on it. And I see them up ahead, but I don't recognize who's on it. I didn't know they were coming out. I thought it was the homeowner, but it's like, I thought it looked like him. But I saw the red motor top. The top of it, it looks like a Honda motor. It's totally not. It's a knockoff for sure. It's like a $200 motor off of Amazon. The thing does chooch pretty good, but then I look down and I kind of looking around, keeping my wits about me. As you're driving a boat, you got to see what's around you, make sure you know some other person coming through with a wakeboard. I look back up and the motor's not on the boat anymore. The red top is no longer on the back end of the boat. So I get in closer and I kind of signal that I've got to pull in, like right where they were kind of rowing towards. There were oars in the boat too, as a fail safe and life jackets and all that. So they're rowing and they went around to the other side. I park the pontoon boat and I get over to help the ladies out. And the motor's laying in the boat. So I was like, that's impressive. It's like, yeah, it just fell off and it went in the water, but the bungee cord saved it. And I was able to grab it and pull it back in. So I spent half of my day yesterday being a small engine repair guy.
Yeah.
To drain all the water out of that thing.
I'm glad
they were okay, but
I've done some roadside assistance help to other people before. Never in the middle of a lake.
Never on the water.
Never on a yeah.
Well, the good thing, they were close enough they could row there, but I was also on my way. I was right behind him if I had to leash up to the boat and get them on board. Easy peasy. And we were going to the same place, so that worked out. And they went and did their fun kayaking and stuff around the lake while I disassembled took the muffler off, the carburetor, let the air filter dry out, drained all the water out of the muffler, and then I also took the valve cover off and pushed the valves open as I pulled the cord to get all the water to flush out. So the last thing you want is that vapor or any kind of water in there when you try and fire it back up. So let that dry out for about 5 hours, put it all back together, fired right up. I mean, that's how I got home today, was that little engine that could.
Nice. That's awesome.
Next time I see them, I'm going to ask them, how was it fishing with a boat motor as a lure?
Yeah.
Or were you trying to use it as an anchor? But I'll say that for next time.
Nice. Yeah, you could tell it's state election season where I'm at because Nevada State is the only state in the country. In fact, it's the only spot on planet Earth that uses the amount of sandwich board signs on the side of the road that number in the hundreds of billions.
I want to also add to that the life-size 4x8 sheets of plywood signs that they put on all vacant land too. Like,
I have never seen anything like it.
You can build homes with this stuff. It's like
if you collected the lumber from the signs,
it's a real fire hazard at some point. Like, well, there's nothing there. Agree. Actually, there's half a forest full of people's faces. Like, how are you supposed to see that when these signs are like this close together and you're blurring down the road even at like 35, 40 miles an hour and it's just face. Like, I don't know what they're hoping to accomplish with their budgets in that way, where it's like, put up a sign,
Right.
But man, they're everywhere. They are everywhere.
Yeah, you guys definitely hold the record that I've seen across the country for size.
Dude.
Yeah.
Just
they're huge.
Don't tempt me, man. I might actually try
yeah.
to manufacture something out of all those. All of a sudden, a house pops up and it's just every face from the county on it.
Yeah.
It was funded by the politicians. What can I say?
Yeah.
It's a joint effort.
They donated it.
Well, it's funny because the neighborhoods,
Secretary of State website.
There's a prohibition on those for the neighborhoods, right? So it's like just this pounding of like political commentary on the side of the road until you reach right at the turn in of a neighborhood, and then it hard stops, and it's just wall, and there's nothing but all these manicured lawns. You go out the other side of the neighborhood, and it resumes and just follows the road on both sides.
Dude,
like, yeah. Oh my god.
Bunch of signs for Enron and Brondo.
Yeah. The thirst mutilator, it's the best. Yeah, kind of going to be a fun and casual show. I had a few things to just catch up on as we go. There's not a whole lot in the news arena that piqued my interest per se. This week specifically, it's also been, as I alluded to last week, it's been my life's on fire. Like, there's embers burning. It's pretty crazy. So safe to say I've been a little distracted with all things going on. But I wanted to talk to you. We spoke last night until pretty late, actually, about sort of like the follow-up, the feedback, and the catching up on the ministry opportunity for you, Lucky, that was kind of opened up almost a day after you had talked about it. You're like, as luck would have it.
Yeah.
They want me on the security team at church. And I just was like, besides it being a thing to do at a pretty high volume and velocity, like, how has the fulfillment level been? And you were able to share some of that. So I wanted to bring that up tonight. It's like, we should save some of that for the pod. And then we have a couple stories, but yeah, take it away. Like, how has that been? How are things going? How are you feeling about that as you go forward in this new journey?
Well, to be quite honest, and this is something that we discussed last night, is that I'm feeling conflicted, and by my feeling conflicted, I'm feeling convicted.
Yeah.
So basically, I set out to do this, and it's supposed to be a servitude thing. I'm not supposed to really put myself in it. It's supposed to be me giving me to the cause of the mission of wherever God wanted to put me. And God obviously opened the door for this. It was not it was literally and I don't know if people remember the story, but basically we had this conversation about how I was kind of looking, God's going to have to kind of open the door and kick me through it, because I don't really know what me getting involved in the ministry of any kind that he would provide for me looks like, right? So I'm not really sure. Could it be, helping out in the food service portion of it and serving there, or in the young adults ministry, or whatever the case may be? God's going to have to open up that door and kick me through it. And literally the very next night, that was on a Tuesday night, as we always do, and following Wednesday night is church. And I happened to not, we would hit Wednesday nights hit or miss, because normally I would work. But this particular time I had a cancellation. So I looked at Erin and I was like, you want to leave early and just go to church? And she's like, yeah, let's go. And they serve food. It's on Wednesday night, everyone eats. They have feed, 200 or 300 people, and we all eat together and have fellowship. And they take out all the chairs and put in tables for everyone to sit around, and then they'll have a smaller service with a Q&A, like typically about like the Sunday message. He'll answer questions on the fly, like people can write in or talk on a mic, bring a microphone from in the room, stuff like that. So pretty casual. So we show up and I'm eating, and it's like some pulled pork sandwich thing, barbecued pulled pork sandwich. And I hadn't eaten lunch, so I was kind of hungry. And I went and ate one, and I went back for round two to get a second one. And as I'm coming through the line, there's like 2 or 3 people ahead of me. And I get, the slaw and the bun and everything on it. And then I walk up, and there's a dude right in front of me, and he gets the last scoop of the meat onto his sandwich. And I'm like, oh no. And so now I've just got a coleslaw bun.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not. And they look at me and they go, oh, hey, they still have more across the way because they set up 2 stations on either side of the sanctuary. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'll just head on over there. And I look across, and the predominant demographic of people who come to Wednesday night church are on average about 78 years old. Yeah. So there is a slew, and they all stay near the back so they don't have to go down the stairs. Mm-hmm. So they're all on the back end where all this is going on. And I look across and I'm like, I don't want to have to bob and weave through that minefield of wheelchairs and 90-year-old women. Yeah. So I'm just going to go out into the lobby and go around to the other side and come in the other doors.
Make a strafing run for the pork. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And as I go out, my buddy Mike Cowan, who is the head of security there, happened to be at the door duty because we keep the doors locked after a certain time. And then they have someone sitting there to open it up for people. And just as I'm walking by, he catches my eye and I wave, and he opens up the door, and a kid comes running through or something. And he opens up the door and he goes, "Hey, Lucky, when are you gonna join the security team? I've been asking you." And I went, hold on. And he literally opened the door like I asked. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that I can't ignore that. So
did you tell God, hold that front door?
Yeah, I went and dropped off my food and then came back and talked to him. And it just seemed like it was straight from, like God going, oh, you want an exact signal? Well, here's your exact signal. Mm-hmm. And so I joined, and a lot of the guys, there's 40 guys on the team roughly. So, and we have 4 services on Sundays, and there's probably about 10 positions that need to be filled every service. So we got 2 rovers, we've got 3 people at each door for the sanctuary. We have 2 people inside the sanctuary. We have someone at the children's department. We have someone at Skate Plaza for the teenagers. And we've got a supervisor and then someone watching the cameras. And, we've got all of these different positions covered. Mm-hmm. And then 2 rovers and then the front door guy. So we've got all of those guys all that need to be there every service. And then same thing for Wednesday nights. And then throughout the week, we only need, because there is stuff going on, but we only need like 1 or 2 throughout the week, like for different Bible studies and such that go on throughout the week. So, but I didn't realize it, but I went through training faster than anybody had gone through training, just because I was just like, all right, I'll train all 4, all 3 services on Sunday because I can't make it to the earliest one, but I'll make the other 3, and then I'll do Wednesday nights. And so I ended up knocking out training on all the positions faster than anybody. Sometimes it takes them months and months to do it. Mm-hmm. And I did it all in like 2.5 weeks. And so they were just like, whoa, you cruised right through that. Well, because I'm kind of the young guy, and the reason why they needed me was because I was able to visually recognize potential threats locally from the area due to my being involved in all the political stuff. And that would be...
Plus your natural awareness level is 4 decades fresher than most of the rest of the people on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So it was just kind of a given where Mike was the only one on the team who could recognize those guys. So he was stuck doing all of the services and couldn't sit in a service with his wife. He couldn't do anything else. And so I was a relief for him and his wife. He finally got to take time to go sit because he knew my eyes were as good as his or better, and be able to sit on a rover position or at the door and be able to recognize threats coming up if they were. So, and so I was a big, utility to this operation, and they were very happy to have me. But I also came to the realization that they're not going to put 70-year-old men out in the rain and the snow, and it's elder abuse.
Yeah.
And so I got volunteered to be outside in all the bad weather, which was fine. I was like, it comes with the territory. It is what it is. But then, I started getting kind of discouraged because I saw every week, guys that would only do one service a month, that were guys who were on duty that were not doing the protocols. They weren't they would just wander around and talk with their friends. And nice guys, I love these dudes, but they're retired guys who just want to jabber about their car interests or whatever with all their friends and not be on post. They were always walking away from their post and wandering around, and they're supposed to be outside with me or at the door or somewhere, and they're nowhere to be found. They're just wandering around. And there's just kind of a pass for these guys because they're old friends of everybody, so they just kind of get this pass. And I'm like, whatever, it doesn't bother me. I'll just do what I'm supposed to do, right? Well, then it starts to get to the point where, they're begging every week. We're on a Telegram channel all together, and they're begging every week. The supervisors, Mike and everybody, are like, we are low on coverage, you guys. We don't have even close to as many people as we need on this Sunday. We need more volunteers. Could you guys please step up? And it's crickets. And these guys are all retired dudes, and they're just not stepping up to help. And even the younger guys who have kids will very obviously be using their kids as excuses to get out of stuff.
Right.
And so there's a middle group of dudes that just kind of hold everything together. And now besides Mike, I'm taking on the most amount of security detail, and I'm burning out because I'm feeling stressed that no one else is doing it. So I decided 2 weeks ago to trim it down a little bit and to go, I'm not working I'm just going to work one service this Sunday. I've got other stuff I want to do, and I'm not going to work Wednesday night. And the guilt trip that I kind of, got from everybody for that was a little heavy-handed. And I was like, okay, all right, well, then I'll set it back up. We'll keep going. And so I got back, and for the last 2 weeks, I've been doing exactly the 3 services on Sunday and then the one on Wednesday. Now, the one on Wednesday is a big sacrifice for me because my job is, I do 2 appointments a day. I do a noon and a 5. So church starts at 5. So I don't get to do my 5 o'clock appointment on Wednesdays, which means I'm out $200 to $400 depending on the day. So I'm actually giving up $200 to $400 in order for them to sacrifice for this. And I'm not trying to be a martyr about it, but that's just the reality.
Well, the comparison is everyone else is basically retired, so it is kind of a monetary inconvenience. Also,
I would say
where I work over at Redacted, people use their kids as an extra 3 weeks off, so I'm familiar with that kind of, you know what I mean?
Right. I would say 70% of the security team is retired guys. Yeah. And they don't want to do anything. They want to wander around. They want to only work 1, maybe 2 shifts per week. And there's a handful of them that are actually doing the work out of 40 guys, right? So some of them I just don't see. A lot of the younger guys, they're just not around because they're traveling for work or they've got other things going on, and so you've got 10 dudes that are doing most of the work. And the other 30 are kind of like him-hawing around. And the retired guys are the ones that kind of irritate me the most because they don't really, first of all, they're not capable of being a security guard at that age, but you can't tell them that. But also, they they just want the merit badge.
Yeah.
They just want to be on the team and then not really have to do anything about it. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm part of security, so that they can wear the gear and then just like show up every once in a while when they feel like it. And it's kind of bothersome. And so I started building kind of resentments toward this kind of stuff. Like, dude, the frustration and the anxiety that it builds when you don't have a full security team and you see the supervisor scrambling and I can't give anymore. Like, I'm just like, this is the availability I have. Please, other guys, step up, and no one will. And so I'm starting to like get really frustrated with that. And I'm, getting frustrated when I'm outside by myself and the other guy who's supposed to be Rover 2 isn't there because he's inside jibber jabbering with other people instead of being outside with me where he's supposed to be. And, so the frustrations are starting to build. The resentments are starting to build. And I'm like, I don't want to feel like this. This is supposed to be a servant situation. I'm supposed to be serving in a capacity, and I don't like feeling like this. So then comes Mother's Day, and you're supposed to be there 15 minutes before your shift. Or so I was told by one of the supervisors, my buddy Hartman, and Hartman's one of the good ones. And I'm like, okay. And if I'm being honest, I skimmed through most of the rule book, the handbook that they gave, because it was pretty basic, normal stuff. And so apparently, if the shift is 9 a.m., the service is 9 a.m., you need to be there by 8:45. And I've never been late. Like, one time I was like 2 minutes late, and Hartman gave me so much crap for it, and I'm like, okay, funny, it's 2 minutes. But then after that, it was never a problem. So then comes Mother's Day. And that being said, before I get into this, I've never been relieved on time.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to come in and get relieved. And it's always like people on the radio going, hey, has anyone seen Mike? And everyone's like, no, he's not here yet. And I'm like, and everyone's like, okay, well, let me know. He's supposed to be relieving this position. And it's like 30 minutes later and Mike shows up, all the time, every week, without fail. No, I've never been relieved on time. So and it doesn't bother me. I don't care, except for that if I'm not relieving, since I'm the only one doing multiple shifts, if I'm not relieved, then I can't go relieve somebody else.
Yeah.
So it creates a domino effect. Now, I show up on Sunday, which was Mother's Day, and Erin was getting ready, and she was taking a little bit longer to get ready than normal. Normally we're out the door pretty quickly, but I'm not going to pick a fight with her about it because it's Mother's Day. So I'm like, nah, so what? It's volunteer work. If I'm 2 or 3 minutes late on Mother's Day, so what? It's no big deal.
It won't be stocks at midday if I'm 2 minutes behind schedule on Mother's Day.
Yeah. Right. So we show up and I look at my phone at 8:48. So I'm 3 minutes late. And I'm helping an old lady get in a side door who's on a walker. And the supervisor, and he's a guy that I actually kind of like, but he comes storming up to me because he's standing out front. He comes storming up to me and gets in my face and starts like barking at me. And I'm like, whoa. And he's like, you were supposed to be, you're late. We need you to be here on time. You're supposed to be here 20 minutes early. I was like, I was told 15. I'm 3 minutes late. He goes, no, it's 20. It's in the handbook. I was like, okay, well, I'm not. I'm here now and I'm helping this lady. So dude, you need to recognize that this is a volunteer situation. Like, I don't have to be here at all. And he went, well, I was like, you need to back off. And I got super hot about it. And so I was fuming and I was about ready to quit.
He came in hot like that. You got to match that energy. Because it shouldn't have been
because I put my hand on his chest to push him back. That's how where we were at. Yeah, I was like, you need to back off. Like, I literally had to physically touch him to make him get out of my face. This is a 76-year-old man. And I'm like, dude, like, you need to back off. So I'm hot under the collar on Mother's Day. And I'm like, I almost took off my radio and all my gear and went, you could do it yourself. I'll go sit with my wife on Mother's Day,
Yeah.
but I calmed down and I just kind of fumed a little bit and I walked around and I was like, people are asking me, hey, are you going to be here for time trials next, couple weeks? And I was like, nope, today's my last day. They're like, oh, really? Why? I was like, because I'm done with the protocols here. And then the supervisor comes up to me and the first thing he says, he goes, I can't, I can't believe like I'm so low on manpower right now. I just can't get anyone to show up, and I'm so grateful for you. And I'm like, oh man. So like, and I had to kind of really step back and kind of go, what am I doing this for? Is this a pride thing? Am I doing it because I feel good about helping people, or that I'm helping Mike, or is it about that? Is it about me feeling good about this? And when I stop feeling good about it is when I just throw it away because I don't feel good about it anymore.
Yeah.
Is that true servitude? Is that true? Is that being humble and understanding that it doesn't matter what gets thrown at you, that this is actually what you're supposed to do, is when you've committed to trying to find a place to serve God and serve the church, and this is open to you, do you allow things like this to be the things that stop you? Like, do you allow those type of interactions to be the things that knock you from the rails that God put you on?
Yeah.
I don't, and so I, really started reflecting on it, and I haven't fully committed to quitting, but I think I am going to like pull back a little bit because I'm feeling a little burnout. So I don't think I'm going to be doing Wednesday nights anymore, and maybe just 2 services on Sunday instead of all 3, because I just can't.
Well, also sounds like a bit of double standard too in some cases of what you're held to compared to the other guys.
Without a doubt, but that's not, and it's not right. And you're correct. And I think that there should be some protocol changes in regard to, like, if you're going to be on the team, you have to commit to 3 services a week. No matter where they are during the week, do a Tuesday at 9 a.m. to 1 to watch the lobby while they're having women's Bible study or whatever, and then do one Sunday service and then another one somewhere along, but at least be prepared to do that, or don't be on the team. It's pointless for you to be on the team if you can do 1/4 service so you don't get asked to stay for another one, a month, just to keep your credit going, essentially.
I think you should add to the qualifications too, and be like, look, there's a standard we have to meet at this point. Also, there's a cage match, and the week will not survive. And if you can't outlast at least the semis in the cage match, you're out.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Gary.
Yes.
I'm looking at you, Gary. You're 83 years old. Why are you on security? Let's brawl.
You want another hip replaced, Gary? You really want to get in here and do
that? I'll make it your 4th.
I'm sorry about that.
Yikes.
Like, I do think it's probably wise, especially with interference with your job too. It's like, at least reclaim Wednesday. Be like, I need to reprioritize this, and then say, here's how I'm feeling about it. Because I assume this team meets every once in a while, unless it's just open chat room stuff all time, whatever. And just be like, I feel we should have some more rigidity around some of the protocols, especially relieving and all that stuff. Maybe squelch down on the requirements for, like you said, 3 services a week. And, if it still feels very one-sided or whatever, people are just kind of drifting off, like trying to herd cats when they're not where they're supposed to be. Maybe it's not a good fit, and be like, that's fine. I can find something else.
Yeah. The basics of even just, like radio control, like being able to properly operate the radios without like talking and then clicking the button. So you're not actually, like, nobody knows how to, there's so many of them that don't know how to do that. And it's aggravating because it's the most basic of things. And I'm just like, you guys, like, if anything is to happen, it's going to happen with these type of hiccups. It's going to happen with the guy who didn't really comb the parking lot because he just wanted to cruise around the building to chat about cars. Instead of actually going through the bus and going around Skate Plaza and going, doing all the things, doing the protocols upstairs that you're supposed to do, like all of the things that you're supposed to do. A lot of these guys are just kind of half-ass it because they don't really take it seriously. And the reason they brought me on was specifically because I know not only that it's serious and that there are serious threats within our community, but because me and my wife are some of the people who brought those threats to the church. Yeah. So we're very familiar with it. So, that's the other part of the guilt, is that I figure I should be, if we're going to engage publicly on a political level as we do in this area and ruffle the feathers that we do because of our stances and our principles, it is going to invite a particular brand of animosity that could culminate in a threat that would bring to the doorsteps of our church.
Yeah.
Considering that our pastor stands behind us when we are speaking truth and we're actually doing it in the way that we are, he has been standing behind us, but his own voice alone is enough to draw the attention of those type of antagonizers. So we've got, but I feel like, well, if I'm going to bring the heat, I might as well stand in front of the fire, I should be, if I'm going to bring the heat down on this church, I should be on the security team and actually be out there kind of making sure that, I'm not hiding behind security because I've talked too much on the internet, stuff like that, right? So there's a bit of guilt to that as well, where I feel like I should be standing on the front line for that. But I do need to pull back a bit. I think I went too hard too fast, thinking I'm, still, 30 years old and still can do this kind of stuff without that kind of burnout. And I'm just not, I'll be 48 in a month. And yeah, right. I know. But yeah, it's one of those things that I need to find balance there. And unfortunately, I feel guilty about looking for balance when I was looking for servitude to begin with.
Yeah.
And so it's something that I'm working towards and praying about and trying to figure out where God really needs to settle me in this, so that I'm not resenting my servitude. I don't want to do that. And so I'll be praying about that quite a bit. But yeah, so that's basically where I'm at with that. It feels like this Wednesday, like tomorrow, I'll be going and doing my shift. But I think I'm going to have a talk with Mike and go, from this point, I need to pull back. So, and then go from there. So.
Gotcha. Well, keep us posted. I know there's a resolve in here somewhere, but hopefully Mike does something about that as well, where they can kind of, load balance some of the other team members, so to speak.
Yep.
One thing for both of you, though, speaking of pastors, though, is there was big to do about pastors being briefed on UFOs by the CIA. And I saw 3 different public appearances on different podcasts and things like that were then aggregated and built into short clips. And I guess the essential premise is some of these, I don't know if it was, I'd considered a mega church pastor or something, but some big outfits alleged that they were briefed by government officials and kind of sequestered into a safe area. And they were of told a skiff of sorts, a Robert skiff. They're told quintessentially, prepare your flock for an amassing amount of departure from the church. And they're like, why is that? And it's because this groundbreaking UFO alien declassification tranche of paperwork is going to start, sponsored by the truth-seeking administration that is in the White House right now. It's going to blow your socks off. Everyone's going to realize that aliens are real, simultaneously. And I mean, the propaganda machine is going full throttle. Simultaneously, we have a congressperson over here that's like, what we saw in that skiff would blow your mind. And he seems
from Tennessee,
zero emotion behind him. It's one of the things that, it would rock the faith of regular humanity if they saw what we saw, and that just these videos are hard hitting and evidence and proof and aliens and UFOs and aliens and God's not real and aliens and prepare and you guys ready for aliens, and nothing happened. Still, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like, we get the first release. It's the exact same blurry bullshit cell phone footage and crosstalk on radio traffic from anywhere from 1703 when we were wielding axes and the Illuminati was running before America was a thing, all the way down to the 1996 whatever that we saw in the FBI did. All it has is a confidential logo stamped on it, and it's the same stuff we've been theorizing about since day one.
Yeah.
So what happened with the pastors that were briefed on the UFO updates coming soon on May 8th to a theater near you? What happened to these guys? Where are they at? Where's all of our aliens? Why is God not real suddenly? I'm not convinced.
Well, I tried to look into this and to see if there was a list of like the pastors or even where they met.
Yeah.
There is no place of where they met.
Yep.
Like it literally is coming from one guy, and the guy's name is Perry Stone. He's been a pastor for a long time. Coincidentally, we share a birthday. But he has been pastoring the Church of God, which has the history of being a lot of weird kind of always predicting end time stuff and then moving the goalpost, and he
nice prediction, Nostradamus. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that going on there's a lot of spiritual healing. He's evangelical and then he claims to have predicted all these things. He also thinks that the Cherokee people possess a unique spiritual heritage associated with the lost tribes of Israel. Like he's in the weeds on a lot of things.
That's a new one for me.
We're connecting dots I didn't even know were dots.
And so he's the one that kind of reported this, that they had some type of gathering where some men in black suits and military officials brought in a bunch of faith leaders from the country, and he's claiming that there was 7 or 8 of them somewhere. I mean, there's different reports that there was 4, that there was 7 or 8 of them.
But it did include Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, at least.
It did, yeah. They were there. But he several claims of them showing pictures of like reptilian beings and the impact to spiritually prepare their congregations for the reveal that everything, like the flood story and the creation story, were all fake, and that they need to really prepare, because it's going to be a shockwave to the bigger body of churchgoers.
Which was the gist that I got from all of that was, here's why we're talking about this, is so you don't walk out on your faith, essentially.
Yeah. And so, unfortunately, there's not really much to bring to the attention of it.
You know what makes him right and us wrong as we talk about it? Evidence.
What's that?
Evidence does that. Yeah, that's the. I hate that word. Oh, the suspension of disbelief vaporizes under evidence, and we just don't have any.
One of them was backpedaling after making that announcement that, he didn't mean that they had all met or something like that, to that effect, like trying to backpedal hard on what he had said, and with how much that hit the ufology community.
Yeah,
he's definitely trying to take some steps back from.
well, he said that he even named names though. He said Bishop Alan DiDio was one of the guys that was there with him. A cluster of American religious leaders have publicly said that they were briefed by officials about imminent government releases on unidentified aerial phenomenon, and the clearest named public claimant is evangelist Perry Stone, while other pastors, including Bishop Alan DiDio and two unnamed ministers who have spoken on podcasts, have also been reporting saying that they attended such briefings. Reporting shows consistent theme in what those pastors say they were told, but there is no publicly released government attendee list, memo, or independent corroboration in the provided sources.
I know before I say this that it is indeed the irony I find so ironic in this, but it does kind of piss me off that any old someone can have a podcast these days.
Yeah.
I've watched a few just today where I got it like 5 minutes in and I was like, hey, this is horrible. I gotta switch and go to the next one, man. Fast forward.
Yeah.
Next clip.
If you watch everything at 2.0 speed like I do, then everything sounds the same, so it doesn't matter.
1.6 is what I'm good at.
Yeah, reporting names Bishop Alan DiDio among other high-profile clergy who said that they were briefed, in outlets cite at least two pastors who went on record. Like, there's nothing here that says that where they met or really what they saw, that they just saw stuff. They saw pictures and were told things.
I hate
and
this.
That they saw.
Yeah. I hate this so much.
Yeah, it's so in the smoke. Like, it's so, but they leaked it out in order to create, because it was everywhere.
Headlines.
Like, I've had people come into the tattoo shop and ask me about this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, this was meant to do this type of damage. It was meant to do this type of work. And, you know, remember when they brought in all of those influencers into the White House and gave them binders about the Epstein files, and
the empty ones?
Yeah. This feels the same thing to me. You know, this feels the same thing, except for that was at least documented. This is just speculation that this happened because some guy said so on a podcast. So I don't think this happened, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. It wouldn't surprise me if, like, there was some clandestine meetings where they're pulling in faith leaders that they know are weak, that they know are easily influenced, but also heavily influential to the easily influenced in the country. You know,
big audience, no spine, convincing about shit they know nothing about.
Yeah,
talks a lot, especially
guys,
in circles. Candace Owens, the usual.
Yeah, and prosperity gospel people who, like, you're sick and poor, because of the sin in your life.
Yeah,
but if you're really righteous, then you get, Bentleys and a ton of money and a private jet, that kind of stuff. That's, though they know that these guys are the manipulators, that they will manipulate the masses, and it will create a crisis of faith. And if these guys can shift it over into this, and we have warnings about this, like the Bible specifically warns about these times, and it, there are many, many verses specifically in the New Testament that warn about these type of false prophets. And in Matthew 24:24, it said, "For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect."
Yeah.
And in 2 Peter 2:1, it said, "But false prophets also arose among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you, who will secretly bring in destructive heresies, even denying the master who brought them, bringing upon themselves swift destruction." And John 1 John 4:1 says, "Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. For many false prophets have gone out into the world." And it continues over and over again. There's over 35 different passages where it is warned that this is going to be happening specifically in the end times to lead as many people astray, to believe a false doctrine, to give up on their faith, to give up on their belief in Christ in order to pull as much of the masses away. And it's kind of the final jab, and it's the final deception before everything happens. So not that I'm predicting anything, but if I was just to go biblically and look to the scripture, it's telling me what these people are trying to do, and it's very obvious. And so that's kind of my take on these guys.
Yeah.
I think that these guys are not true pastors. They're not truly men of God. They are not in line with what the scripture says. They're not in line with the word says. If that was the case, they wouldn't even be entertaining this.
Yeah.
They would be like, that's not what the scripture says. And so anything that they're being provided with evidence, I believe, is demonic in nature. Like we were talking about demons coming through the Hadron Collider and stuff like that. It's demonic in nature, and they're being told it's something other, and they're being deceived, and they are willing to take that and deceive the masses with that information. So they don't have the discernment of the Holy Spirit in them, and they don't have the discernment of God in them, and they're false prophets. Whether they're doing it intentionally or they're dumb accomplices, either way, it's going to lead a lot of people astray the minute that these guys come out and go, I've seen it. Apparently the aliens are the ones who put us here. God isn't really real. Let's shift gears and be something else, and have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people following them off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
what do you think, Paul?
I think Lucky's hit the nail on the head. No pun intended there with the crucifixion. I seriously think that it's just pastors doing ill will and being led astray. And also back to what you said, Angel. Where's the evidence? Just show us the evidence.
Yeah.
Also, the immediate backpedaling. That's what really gets me, is when someone comes out swinging hard like that with claims like that, and then immediately backpedal the next day.
Yeah.
All the pods that I listened to, they were talking about how this guy's just immediately backpedaling from what he said yesterday. Come on, man.
It blows my mind because, especially those of the ilk that beat the prosperity thread to death, which is something I take great offense to, having been in positions like that where a lot of people that I cared for were really buying into that type of message. And, I sounded a little like a junior heretic when I said it, but it was like, look, it's pretty easy to be the mouthpiece for a message like that when the tithes and offerings are flowing in one direction. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it also doesn't probably look all that great when you roll into the office at your church in a brand new BMW every every 6 months and stuff. While you're beating on the prosperity thread just about twice a month,
right.
So some of that does feel like human nature's creeping in there, but that was my whole piece. Was like, all right, well, if I want to see where this goes, because I find this stuff to be like very detrimental to people that especially are new to faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, show me the Carfax, dog. Let's see it. Can I have one unredacted document that corroborates anything you just said? Can you describe what you saw? Can you not talk circles around this secret meeting that you've been in? Also, why were you invited to the secret meeting and not such and such mega church pastor or all the pastors as an open invitation? if they're really concerned about the faith community from a government perspective, which, as history has shown us, they don't really care all that much, especially if there's a pandemic. They would prefer that you not go to a place of worship and things like that. I think I remember that being evidence-based and a whole bunch of court cases coming out of that. But, so revisionist history, let's just say they're not. Show me the evidence, dude. Show me something.
Let me put this into perspective. President Trump has assigned a pastor, he has assigned a pastor from every state. He has asked for every state to have a representative pastor. And I know this because our pastor Paul was the one that they asked for the state of Idaho. And because he was friends with Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk recommended him, and so they looked into him, and they wanted Pastor Paul to be the Idaho faith representative for the faith guild that he was building, President Trump was building. That being said, he passed on it because at the time, Trump was waffling on some abortion initiatives, and Paul was like, I cannot attach myself to you. I will vote for you begrudgingly due to the fact that I think you need to be stronger on the abortion stuff. But and you're obviously the best option that we have, and stuff like that. But I cannot take this.
Pastor Paul did not like the alternative of just being unburdened by what had been.
Right. Exactly.
Fair.
So
okay.
There's more.
So I know that there is a coalition already.
Yeah.
Of the faith leaders of the heads of each state that they have brought together for this, for any type of these type of things. Why wouldn't they invite any of those guys?
Right.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that be the coalition that they brought together to reveal all this stuff to? You would think that would be where they would start. But because these guys most of them are probably, and I wouldn't say all of them for sure, but there's probably a heavy enough contingent of these guys that are actually true men of faith that they wouldn't be able to blow this much smoke up all their butts without it being called to the carpet. And so they went, let's get some wishy-washy weirdo pastors from all over the place, create this secret little group, and then say, you got to go tell everybody because we're really concerned about, people's faith being questioned, as if that's ever been a priority of any of our modern U.S. governments. So
I don't even need a double click into that. The way I look at it, or the way my gut reaction is I don't think any of that happened. I think it's just a rogue actor that knew there was going to be some release of information in the near future and then just popped off at the mouth on his own accord. I'm not convinced a meeting like that ever happened at all, because to Paul's point, why would they then walk it back 24 hours later? Literally no other person that he name dropped corroborated this secret meeting and the story and stuff, at least as far as I was able to look. So maybe they have, I don't know, but it's like, I don't think any of this happened, to be honest.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would say, the files that came out, on another note, as lackluster and boring as they are, it's the low-hanging fruit. Supposedly, we're supposed to get another tranche in every 2 weeks. They're supposed to release more, but I will hold my breath for that and see what happens in the next one. But I don't know.
Was there anything? Have you guys seen anything of note in anything that they've released thus far?
Just a bunch of objects flying around at obscene speeds. And I guess one of the excuses that they haven't released anything higher quality is that they've got to protect the telemetry data on how some of these sensors work that are filming it from our aircraft, like military aircraft. That sounds like,
I guess
it sounds like a lot of smoke up my butt.
Yeah. I'm not convinced. I want to be convinced.
I agree.
And
I'm waiting for the next tranche. We'll see.
Yeah, anyway, I wanted to bring it up because I thought, all three of us were aware of that independently. We hadn't spent a whole lot of time collectively talking about it, but it is one of those things where it's like not a single shred of here. Don't take my word for it.
It's right here. Look at this.
Nothing. So
nothing.
What a bummer.
It's a nothing burger.
It's a nothing burger.
My mom's gonna hate this episode.
Well,
we're not talking about anything but aliens tonight. So she's just gonna be like, boring.
Yeah, it's well.
I'm having a great time though.
Buckle up, Mom, because it's conspiracy corner time.
We're not done yet.
It's conspiracy corner time. Let's find those tinfoil hats. I think it's fair to get your mom a tinfoil hat. I know that a lot of what we talk about is
her birthday's coming up. Maybe that's what.
Well, there you go. Like, yeah, we can.
She's hard to shop for, but I know the woman doesn't have a tinfoil hat.
I got it on upside down, actually.
See, we could do conspiracy.
It's an upside down with a headband.
We could do a conspiracy on all kinds of corruption. It just happens to be flavor of the month, you know.
A little bit of an angle to it on one angle of the dangle versus the other angle of the dangle.
Well, and if for some reason by now listeners and watchers of the show are unfamiliar with Conspiracy Corner and why three grown men have put tinfoil on their heads, it is worth noting that we have a little fun in this section. While these hats are on, you can suspend all personal and professional credibility for the words we use as we describe conspiracies in Conspiracy Corner, starring Paul again this week. What do you got? This is back to back. We have two-parter.
I want to touch in on the Miami incident that Lucky brought to my attention that I had never, I guess I had in loose terms heard about it and seen like a 10-minute clip about it. Didn't really do a deep dive until the last couple days, trying to find some
Well, set the scene for us, because this was in the 90s, right? This was not in the distant past.
The Miami incident was 2024.
That was 2024. The Brazilian one was in the 90s, right?
Correct.
Okay, so, got it.
First part is Miami. Second part, we'll talk about the Virginia alien incident. Is basically Brazil's Roswell.
Yeah.
The equivalent. But so the Miami incident happened in 2024, and there are videos of what looks like shadowy beings kind of roaming around through groups of people. But the large consensus on what people are just writing this off as is kids with fireworks. All the police, a huge police force from Miami surrounding, came to this mall.
The Bayside Marketplace Mall.
Bayside Marketplace Mall came to the mall as crowd control because they heard kids like getting into a fight, and then supposedly people thought there were gunshots, but it was really just kids lighting fireworks off, and they were there to
manage panic.
Yeah, manage the panic of people. And then there are numerous video clips of people running, oh, hell no, I got to get the hell out of here, that kind of stuff. Like, so people just fleeing for their lives.
Was this one of those TikTok takeover things? Like, how did they amass such a police force because someone reported kids were fighting that big and bad? I remember.
Correct.
I remember just before I left Seattle, there was a massive TikTok viral takeover. that took over the beach that I lived on, and the cops wouldn't let me through. And I was like, you're going to let me through. My house is here. Like, I live here. This is my driver's license and stuff. And there were so many people running around waiting for something to happen with their phones out and stuff that nothing ever happened. Like, is that part of the explanation? Was that what drew all those people to that mall with such a police presence that big, that fast? Or was it simply just, no, we're just that good at response time?
Yeah, I think they're just that good at response time, I guess.
They said that there was anywhere between 60 to 100 police cars there.
It's a lot.
And that they had
huge amount.
And they had a ton of SWAT there as well for this particular, and all of like over 200 to 300 officers were all there. So like it was an insane presence for that type of thing going on. And it happened on like New Year's Day. I remember it happening, and I remember the videos coming out very early on of people saying that, I mean, it was instantaneous. It wasn't something that kind of rolled out later. It was instantaneous of them saying that there was a ton of eyewitnesses and people were screaming and talking on video about it, about portals opened up within the mall and creatures that they went on to describe as lanky and long and some kind of smoky ethereal stuff going on around them, and they moved weird. But they were anywhere between 8 to 12 feet tall, came out of these things and were looking around and talking to themselves, but also trying to communicate. And everyone just started running and screaming like mad as they just kind of meandered through the mall like these creatures, and even walked outside of the mall. So this is the reports that are going on early on. Then, the police force showed up and surrounded the area, got everybody out, and then the reports say that they basically checkpointed everybody, confiscated all of their video equipment, erased everything that they could get their hands on, and then made a team to scrub the internet. That being said, there's people like on Reddit and stuff like that said, I was there, this is exactly what happened. But then now you're getting retractions from a lot of the other people said, no, it was just a fight. It was just a fight. And
that's some of the stuff that I came through on YouTube. One of the guys said, I was there and I want to try and interview some other people that saw what I saw, because I know I saw some shadowy guys walk through a portal, and I want to find some other people to corroborate this. And as he's going through, one of the guys like, no, there wasn't anything there, but check out this video that my brother sent me about aliens. And he's like, so you don't believe in what happened, and you said you were there, and you don't believe it was that there were aliens, but then you're going to show me a video about aliens from your brother. So I thought that was interesting. He talked to a couple Miami cops that said, nah, there weren't any aliens there. And then there was some kid on TikTok that had posted something that he tried to interview just via FaceTime, and the kid just kind of blew it off and was like, nah, there wasn't anything there. So I think, I don't know. I'll let Lucky take it away, because he found a lot more better evidence than I did on this guy.
Well, I found two videos. One of a kid who, probably 20-year-old kid or whatever, 25, somewhere in there, and they were talking about the incident, him and his friends, and he goes, my dad is on the Miami police force. He was, called to that incident. He didn't say anything about aliens. I'll call him up right now. I'll prove it to you. So he calls up and he FaceTimes his dad, and somebody else is recording him. And you can see his dad's face pop up. He goes, hey, what's up, dude? And he goes, hey, Dad, you know that thing that happened at the mall? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, dude, was there aliens at that mall? And the dad, and he's kind of like chuckling. And the dad goes, I am not allowed to talk about that. And the kid goes, what? And he starts laughing because he thinks his dad's joking. And he goes, whatever, Dad. And he goes, no. Like, no, I'm serious. I'm been told I'm not allowed to talk about that. And he goes, and like, it didn't feel orchestrated. It didn't feel like they were acting. It felt like so. And then there was another video of a girl who was kind of doing a analysis of it, right, of the situation. And it turns out that I was watching a video of somebody who was watching that video, so she corroborated it, right? And she did the math on her own to see if it actually worked. And basically, if you take the coordinates of the latitude and longitude of that mall in Miami, and you reverse the coordinates and you switch out the latitude and the longitude, it then will literally, that latitude and longitude is nearly in the dead center of Antarctica,
where the secret alien base is.
Where the secret alien base is.
Granite doors and all that stuff, and an inverted pyramid.
Yep. And so it ends up landing right there. So it is the exact polar opposite of that coordinate. And it is an odd situation where you now have, where they think that portal, maybe the alien dyslexia or whatever, but they swapped out some.
The alien wife was driving and got the directions wrong.
Yeah, right. And so, there's a lot of different things going on with this particular incident. Now, what it brought me to was what you were talking about last week with the Hadron Collider and the portals and the demons, and things are popping up. We live in a digital age now. We live in an age where everything's recorded. There's cameras everywhere, and we're going to start seeing a lot more of this stuff and witnessing a lot more of this stuff because of the fact that it's no longer just fairy tales of people passing on stories.
Want to see a mother effing 4K of something instead of all this grainy, pixelized. I've got a cell phone from 1998 that's a flip phone. Or 1998. It's too late. So let's go with a Razr with the camera. It's like a 1 megapixel, and that seems to be all that we freaking get out here.
Yeah, everything we have. I think somebody with 5 minutes could do better on an Etch-a-Sketch than the footage we've seen so far.
Oh, give me a second. I've got an Etch-a-Sketch right here.
I want to back this up for something you just said, Lucky. So you're saying the coordinates of that's incredible. You just have an Etch-a-Sketch nearby like that. That's insane.
It's right here. It's ready to go.
Wasn't on my bingo card today. That's great.
Give me an outline of Antarctica on that.
Yeah, let's go live. Pressure's on. So what you're let me back this up a little bit. Something you said. So you're saying the coordinates of this spot in Miami, assuming the Earth is round. What you're saying is that the point, basically, if the top dot on the planet was Miami, then the exact opposite through planet Earth dot down here would be Antarctica. Is that what you're describing? Or do you have to scramble the coordinates of this and then it somehow becomes Antarctica if you move the numbers around?
No, I don't think that's the case. I think that because latitude and longitude are two separate kind of and all they did, according to the video, all they did was just take the latitude and the longitude numbers and swap them.
Oh, I see. Okay. So we have to do some creative them. Yeah. We have to do some creative numbers in order to make that work. I see. All right. Well,
and I don't know I don't have the technological ability to look that up.
I mean, I do, and I'm still not bothered by it. Like, I mean, again, if the Earth was round, why are the bottoms of my shoes flat? Right. So case closed.
That just sketch is broken. Sorry, guys.
Damn it. No live artwork.
Only horizontal, no vertical.
So before we get to Brazil, like what are our thoughts?
Flat Earth, Paul.
I can't even draw Antarctica. Oh no.
All you have is the horizontal. You don't have the vertical. You just have
there
the
horizontal. There is no vertical.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go horizontal and fall off the edge of the Etch-a-Sketch. Sorry.
Once again, 2-dimensional lifestyle. You can't beat it. So what do we land on before we move down to Brazil in the 90s? Like, what do we think happened in Miami? Do we think it's some exclusive cover up, or it's all collective storytelling, or I think it's just bullshit?
I think it's a cover up, just like Roswell.
I agree. I think something happened there. I don't think it was just a flash mob. I don't think it was a TikTok thing. I don't think it was fireworks. I don't think anything. There would be so much evidence that they would show if it was just a brawl with some fireworks. Yeah. They would not have needed the police force that was obviously reported to be there and can be documented. They would not need any of the, there wouldn't be kind of a shutdown of information. They would be going, no, look, idiots, it was a bunch of fireworks. Watch this video from inside the mall of kids blowing off fireworks. Something happened there that scared a couple thousand people into running out of that mall. On New Year's Day. Something happened. And then the swift amount of information that came out, and then the absolute cutoff of that information is telling for when something that they didn't want known to get shut down. And it's just kind of part of the playbook on that. Now, what that was that happened, I don't know, but it was something that definitely happened. It was probably one of the experiments that happens with all of the things where we're toying with the fabric of reality and dimensions and pulling out creatures and demons and Nephilim that we shouldn't be messing with, but we can't seem to stop fingering that wound, and like it's just a horrible, horrible thing that we just as humans keep pushing the buttons of reality. But yeah, I think something did happen, and I don't think it was just a big hoopla that everyone can just dismiss. And I think there's enough people that were there that are trying to talk about it via certain avenues on the internet. Now it could have been, I don't even know what else it could have been. It's either it was what the actual narrative is, and you would think that they would have dismissed it by, instead of letting this continue, there would have been like, hey, there's 600 plus cameras in this mall that were all pointing in this one direction. We have all the video evidence in the world. Here it is. Shut up about it, and then we'll move on with your life. Right. They don't do that. They haven't done that. So something did happen there that they don't want people to know about, and that's something that I believe something happened here. Do I think it was aliens? We all know at this point in this show that I don't believe in such things, but I do believe interdimensional beings are a part of what's going on here. So I absolutely believe that.
Okay. Well, Paul, let's continue to finger the wounds.
Oh yeah,
a little bit further.
On board with you.
You want to finger some more wounds, Angel?
Finger some more wounds. Something about that story I just can't quite put my finger in. The Miami incident, I believe, did happen. I think you're 100% right about that. It was a massive cover-up, just like Roswell. But along with that cover-up, the Virginia alien incident of 1996 it was much more documented, and a lot of first-person accounts, mostly interviewed by James Fox, not Jamie Foxx, but James Fox. He's a well-known ufologist and has written and directed a ton of UFO movies, scripts that he's sold to Discovery Channel, History, stuff like that, Ancient Aliens level kind of thing. But he's done a ton of, where are my notes? There we go. I was looking for my notes on the Virginia because I was looking at this stuff from Miami. There was a farmer that said that there was a crash, just like Roswell. Goes out and checks it, and it's a craft that he's never seen before. It picked up a piece of metal and like crumpled it up, and it felt super lightweight. And he dropped it, and it uncrumpled itself, and like went back to the normal form. So just like the same experience that people talk about with Roswell, about some of the material they found there. The main sighting of the alien was, the main contact was with 3 girls that were walking towards a park after the crash. The crash was out in the farmlands near the city of Virginia. Girls were on their way to a park, and in some of the tall grass, they saw a like brown, leathery skinned being, like 3-4 feet tall, with like 3 fingers on its hands, 3 fingers on its toes, red eyes, and smelled like ammonia, really bad ammonia smell. And they ran and told their mom and got a bunch of other people. But there's also there was a bunch of material.
Consequently, the wiki article of what they proclaimed to their mom was, "We saw the devil." That was what they told their mom.
Chupacabra. Yeah. The chupacabra is a known thing down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not
and
a
they
known
were
thing,
laughed
like
at.
a known superstition down there. They
thought it was they thought it was a homeless man at first, crouched down.
And when there's a guy that is known to be a little eccentric and out of sorts down there, and they thought it was just him covered in mud, is what they were trying to write it off as.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the explanation the authorities gave of the incident when questioned. Yeah.
But that doesn't explain the military personnel that were witness to it, and also the extreme military presence in the city, along with the police looking for this thing. There were one guy was driving the Jeep, and the other guy grabbed, or was it the cop car? I can't remember specifically. I think it was the military guys. One of them was driving, and the other guy grabbed the alien and put it in the vehicle. He died within 24 hours or 48
before he
hours
got to the hospital.
Before he got to the hospital. He died of some kind of poison in his blood system. It was like 15% toxicity for an unknown toxin after touching this alien. Suppose one of the things I remember is that he got scratched by it, supposedly. I'm going to backtrack real quick. The girls said when they spotted in the tall grass that they could sense in their mind's eye, they could sense that the alien was scared and needed help. So obviously they just crashed its ship, you know. The guy that died, his partner, the guy that was with him that was driving, has refused all interviews, and I think was just recently interviewed by James Fox, and that was like a huge deal because he's like the last person still alive that hasn't died from some weird circumstance.
I wish it was Jamie Foxx, just for the record.
Like, yeah, me too.
It's like he's gone out on a limb and he's just a hardcore ufologer now, like
Tom DeLonge. It's like Tom DeLonge and Jamie Foxx are gonna reveal the truth.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Tom, could you call the aliens out? And he's just like, "Where are you?" You know.
And I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, Tom. I know you're an avid listener of the show.
Jamie Foxx comes out. She gave me money.
So, okay, so this guy got interviewed by James Fox. Yes. He's the only one among whom that has not died of a mysterious circumstance. Did all three of the girls die too, or like that part I didn't get to?
The girls were refuted, discounted, written off because as witnesses because they were requesting money anytime they were doing an interview. And I mean,
that doesn't help
you're from a poor,
it doesn't help your cause.
It doesn't help your cause, but at the same time, if you're from a poorer country, why wouldn't you want, you know, I've got a story I want to tell you, but you're gonna have to pay me for it. Why wouldn't you? I don't blame them for it at all.
It's Brazil. It's not like they're a bunch of, you know, New York debutantes or, you know, like, or it's these girls live in a culture where, you know, giving them cash for information is not unheard of.
Right.
Well, before you ask, Paul, we cannot pay you for your appearances on the show for the last couple of weeks. So you're going to have to take that up with your agent
or something.
This contingency was clearly outlined.
My agent, Bullwinkle over here, needs to get on it. Write me up a better contract next time. There was also hospital staff. I don't know if it was the same. I think it was the alien that the guys captured was brought to. Hold on. No, I'm connecting two different stories. There was one that was brought alive and supposedly a surgeon worked on it. James Fox interviewed him. And then there was another military group that brought in a bag and the guy was told to x-ray it, but you're not allowed to open it, and immediately took the film after they x-rayed it. So that was the military side of things. And then also the wing of the hospital that they did all of this stuff in had to be closed because it reeks so bad of ammonia. And that's something everybody talks about. Was just the worst smell of ammonia that stick in your nose, stick to your clothes, and it would burn your eyes. Kind of smell like chlorine gas, ammonia gas, kind of thing. So, very interesting point that all of them corroborate the same smell, the same olfactory issues, eye issues from whatever's burning. That they all came up with that. And I think that's way too broad of a story to come up with and make up as a group from the number of people that had contacts with this. But yeah, there was a dozen named witnesses with claims from dozens overall. No single exact number. Depends on who you count as a witness or not. But It's
there's an upwards of 50 people who had some type of witness to seeing them in the back of trucks or helicopters coming down, that there was multiple creatures that they had caged in the back of trucks that fit the description: red eyes, brown skin, bad smell. And they were all kind of independent witnesses. They were coming in not knowing what the girls had been saying or whatever. So there's some validity to it, as far as like the witnesses that they counted were witnesses that they could corroborate weren't in cahoots with anybody else, is kind of what I read. So
also the rancher, he was interviewed, taken back to the spot where the crash land had happened. So when he spotted the crash land, he immediately went out there to look at it, played with the foil and stuff. But then there was a military presence that showed up immediately and had a gun in his face, telling him, get out of here. Don't talk about anything that you saw here. While he was being interviewed, I think it was by James Fox or someone else, took him back to the crash site. And the guy was so emotional. It's not an emotional thing that you would make up. I think it was the stress of the situation and having to relive that scenario all over again is what really was pulling on his heartstrings for sure. But James Fox, he's been on the Y-Files. He's also been on Joe Rogan episode 1976. Y-Files, I think it's Basement episode number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a 3-hour long podcast. So you want to go on a deep dive with James Fox and like how he got to making films about UFOs and the other films that he made, and then get into the Virginia incident. Both of those episodes are really good. They do a much better, deeper dive than we do, but that's one that is like, that's a lot of people from different angles corroborating the same story, the same type of alien, the same smell. Aliens, excuse me, plural. Maybe they prefer just alien. I don't know,
man. Maybe he would have got a little bit more out of that rancher if he brought him back to the crash site and then pulled a gun on him again and was like, tell me everything you saw this time, and like had to unwind some of that trauma with
the reverse hypnosis kind of thing.
Yeah.
They did that with one of the guy. Oh no, hold on. I'm thinking about a different abduction scenario where they
Paul's been swimming in too much alien
goo. I've been swimming in alien goo all day. Sorry. No, what was the famous one, the logger that they made a movie out of?
Travis, whatever.
I wanted to say Travis Barker, but I'm thinking Blink-182. Sorry, guys.
No, it's something like that. Something like that, yeah. And it was the Fire in the Sky guy.
Yes, that's it. So Fire in the Sky, they did in a regression therapy, regression hypnosis therapy to get him to talk about just like a couple days or a day or so after they found him, after he'd been gone for 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought he'd only been gone for a day. But yeah, sorry, I got sidetracked on that. I get sidetracked on a lot.
Yeah, that one's a little harder to explain unless there was a simultaneous smelling salts factory in Brazil that exploded the same day. Like I don't understand the whole ammonia bits part of that, where everyone's like, yeah, the smell was atrocious. And then the one guy that dies of a 15% blood alcohol poisoning content of substance unknown. Like that's kind of odd. But did they release the autopsies and stuff from this, or is this part of their confidential?
Oh, they buried the guy. They immediately buried him. They did not do an autopsy at all. They immediately buried him for security's sake.
Like for security's sake, wouldn't you do an autopsy though? If you were in charge of the country?
If you knew that it was because he had come in contact with the alien, you would put him in a lead box and bury him, 30, 40 feet under with concrete to make sure
I'll add it to the Overlord tips at the bottom.
Yeah. Learn something.
Don't do an autopsy.
I don't know.
Hide it.
Yeah,
hide it as best you can.
I don't know, man. That one's like whenever the military gets involved and there's like immediate shutdown and cover up and all things quiet, it's kind of like for what reason should we remain quiet about this? Like, is it because you're covering something up and this isn't real after all? And whoops, we weren't supposed to know? Or because you know some shit we don't?
People that came down from the United States Air Force too, Men in Black, talking to all these people to keep their mouths shut, offering them money to never talk about it again and move out of country. So there's a lot of that too.
There's reported U.S. military forces on ground, like interacting with the public about this particular incident during that time frame. So, there's, and I mean, from 96 till now, the stories remain the same. Mm-hmm. The documented evidence has remained the same. There's been no backtracking or explanations or anything like that. It's all kind of just very similar to the Roswell situation, where you get the same story every time, and the government came in and did the Brazilian version of, oh, this was a weather balloon, so who knows, but I don't think that these 3 young Brazilian girls at the time, which they were in their, I think, late teens, early 20s, mm-hmm. is what it was reported, that these girls came up with a chupacabra alien story out of thin air. Now, I know a lot of, my daughter is 20. She's played softball up until senior in high school. Those type of things aren't really on their minds.
That's not at the top of their list of things to create or make up.
To get notoriety of any kind, who they're thinking about getting married, especially in kind of South American countries, right? That's kind of their top goal, is to get married, have babies, whatever. Education not being probably very prominent amongst the female population in that area. They have a different set of goals. I don't see 3 young girls coming together fearfully and holding on to a lie for 30 years. It's crazy to think, but they've never recanted. They've said it's the same thing and never let it go. Just doesn't seem plausible that they would be, if they didn't see anything, that they would have kept this going for this long. Now, once again, what did they see? I don't know, but mm-hmm. I do think that there are things on this planet of a spiritual nature, even with physical form sometimes. And all of those things are meant and designed and agreed upon to be deceptive. So I think they saw something. I don't know what, but I think that there's too much going on in this kind of in this story that, and it reminds me of, the Miami story and this story kind of remind me, if you kind of combine them together, of what happened right next in your backyard a couple of years ago in the Vegas situation, where those kids literally called 911 and it's recorded. Mm-hmm. And they're like, I'm looking at something right now and it is 10 feet tall and it's in my backyard. What do I do? And whatever happened to that? Well,
I want to be party to one of these, especially if the government is going to show up and pay me off. Like, I could use a payday.
Right. I'll shut up for a price tag.
You can have my...
I don't know what happened to the neighbor's dog. I think it was 10, 12 feet tall.
Yeah, you can have my stupid cell phone. Pay me. That's great.
Yeah.
I just double checked to make sure Virginia, Brazil doesn't have a nose torque factory smelling salts.
Yeah, got to be mindful of these things. It's unfortunate they don't. That whole thing.
That's it.
It has a lot of stray cats, though, which is very odd.
I think it's the cat's fault. The thing that happened here, same thing though, like sketchy footage from a cell phone of people shakily looking at backyard lights and blurry images, and they're frame by frame slowing it down. You can't see anything.
Yeah,
there's nothing there.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
well, We'll get to the bottom of this at some point.
Yeah, we will solve
Nobody
it.
before us has tried to talk about these things. I think we're going to be the ones to crack this wide open at some point. My bet is on biblical demons.
Reagan said the worst sentence in the English language is, "I'm here from the government and I'm here to help you."
Yeah.
I think that was, I may be misquoting that one.
No,
but
you paraphrased it, but yeah, he said that. Yeah, for sure.
That's how I feel about the UFO release. The other thing to add on to that is the reason why what I keep hearing they're not releasing all of it is because they've offshored it into these other government entities that are actual private companies, like Skunk Works or something. Some of them being tied to not Huey Lewis in the News.
You think
Howard Hughes?
Can I make an assessment here?
Yeah.
Honestly, you want to know why I don't think they're releasing it yet?
Why?
Because the AI to prove it is still detectable.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
The evidence that they're going to show will be AI generated,
and we can still tell when something is AI generated. But we can still tell
something's AI.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're waiting for it to get to that point where you can't tell. And then at that point, and there's no way to detect it, like running it through back filters and being able to go, oh, this was all AI generated.
Running it through AI, asking, hey, is this AI generated from?
Right,
AI?
Exactly. Yeah. And so once they've got it to that point.
Palantir working at the government level, hiding it and trying to make it better than what we have as the lower peons down here. Yeah.
Yeah, because this lateral move rabbit trail will never end. Well, we offloaded the research through black funding to a private set of security groups.
Well, why was the private security group just so happened to be Howard Hughes stationed in Las Vegas right next to Area 51? Just saying.
And then when they investigate that, they'll be like, well, we actually sent that off to a coalition of black operative intelligence agencies that was international. Most of these things have been moved to Russia where they can be buried in, the harsh winter wasteland and monitored. And then they'll get to Russia and they'll be like, you know what? This was an American thing. And if you really want to know, these were all backlogged in Chinese servers. Like, we will die before we get to the bottom of who knows where the secrets are. Like,
unless they actually come down and make touchdown and be like, we're here.
Right. I would need a pretty convincing personal encounter, and I don't want any of my wounds fingered as a result of this, but I need something more than a blurry, sketchy video or, crazy lights, or like the most hilarious thing I saw was someone was really trying to get momentum on theirs. And they're like, take a look at what this photographer captured in also Brazil. And it's like this, rain foresty looking green area. And there's these powerful storm clouds and there's flashes of lightning. And then one of them flashes and the outline in the clouds, you could see a saucer. And if you freeze on it and zoom it in, it is actually the saucer section of the USS Enterprise D, the Captain Picard one. Like, and I'm just like, you're not even trying, dude. Like this is, what are we doing? So yeah, but yeah, maybe we'll get something a little more hard hitting with the next tranche. Regardless, I love these conversations. I love them.
Yeah,
they're entertainment purposes only for now until, I want to believe, but.
All right. Well, that's Conspiracy Corner. I sure appreciate it. Oh, I feel so much different. Like I lost the last 25 minutes of my life somehow. How did I get here? Don't know what was said. I had to step off screen for a moment, but you have the dope this week. Lucky.
I do.
Talk us through what this is.
I think actually this one will be quite enjoyable by you, Paul.
Shoot.
And so the dope this week is a kid that I found on Instagram, and he happened to just come across my algorithm, and it's really quite endearing. And it is a kid by the name of Max Savage, and he lives in the Seattle area. And
he's homegrown.
I think he's a 19, maybe 20-year-old kid. And he has a channel that he put together after the death of his grandfather by the name of Ed Savage. And he wasn't super close with his grandfather from what he's described, but he did have a little bit of a relationship with him and loved him. But in the course of after his grandfather's passing, he inherited his grandfather's record collection, vinyl collection. And his vinyl collection was in pristine condition, and it was somewhere in the realm of 20 to I think like thousands of records. I can't even put a number to it. Thousands of records. And this kid inherited thousands of records from his grandfather. And he hadn't heard of any of these before. And he had gone to a couple of shows, but apparently his grandfather was a music aficionado of kind of the 90s era. He's kind of like our age range in his musical tastes. I think he's probably a little bit older than me, probably in his 50s. He died fairly young. And he went to a lot of shows. I think he worked as a roadie from what I've heard him describe. And this kid has kind of reconnected with his grandfather by playing one record from his collection every day and reviewing it, and is really getting to know his grandfather. And then now he's starting to go to all these shows that his grandfather would go to. And it's really heartfelt and endearing. This kid just really is finding out that he loves his grandfather through his grandfather's musical taste, which tends to be kind of 90s era, like grunge and punk, and the Melvins, and all of the Alice in Chains. And he'll review an album as a 20-year-old kid who's never heard this stuff before, and and he does a really decent job of actually kind of describing the tone and the energy of each of these albums. And he'll go, I've never heard of Jane's Addiction before, and he'll go through a Jane's Addiction album, or and he's already done, like, I would say 100 or two, maybe about 100 of these albums so far. And so he's got a lot of material to go, but you can see this kid really connecting with his grandfather. You can see him connecting with the lineage, and it's literally called What's on Grandpa's Turntable, which is what the name of his channel is. And he will pull up the album, he'll show the cover, he'll kind of talk about the inside, he'll talk about what his favorite track is, he'll talk about the tone and the mood and what he appreciates about that particular album, and kind of relate it to other stuff that he's heard before through his grandfather's collection, right? Cool. And it's really incredible. Like, I really enjoy, as kids learning about, like, the Matt Langdon Band, and the Butthole Surfers, and even Fiona Apple, and some
solid, dude.
Yeah, and there's
wait till it gets into the lesbian power ballad section. It's just Ani DeFranco and Alanis Morissette and like the Lilith Fair B-sides. You're like, oh God, Grandpa, what happened between 1996 and... No, I'm just kidding.
And so, but that's what he does. And now he's starting to go to these shows of, like, Dinosaur Jr. or any of these bands that are still around that kind of hang around Seattle and do shows every once in a while.
Yeah.
And he'll go and watch these bands and really get an appreciation for a genre of music that he wasn't around for, but can connect to his grandfather through his grandfather's love of this music. And his grandfather had impeccable taste. His grandfather had a wide variety. He didn't kind of stay kind of pigeonholed. You can tell where he leaned, obviously, but he definitely kind of started to get around in the kind of the outskirts of certain genres and more local stuff that was every once in a while. But it is a heartfelt way that this guy has really connected with his grandfather, and I just really enjoy watching this kid learn about him through music.
That's a hell of a way to remember someone, to honor someone's past, is to delve into what they were into and keep that memory alive of him. And,
especially when he didn't understand why this record collection was donated to, or like he inherited it. He's like, what am I going to do with this? If you look at the first one, he's got this room that's just full of records.
Yeah.
And he's just like, what am I going to? I've never played a record before. You know, like,
man.
Yeah,
this kid's living the dream.
Well,
and he is.
There's a lot of that going around because one of the dopes that we did earlier was the Dead Guy Recipes one, where the guy inherited all the recipes from, I think it was an uncle or something.
I watched that episode. Yeah, it was an uncle that it was just this strange drunk uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dead Greg's Recipes. Yeah.
Yeah, Dead Greg's Recipes. And they just go through and make it. And they're like, yeah, this is awesome, or this is no good.
Yeah. Well, he was this drunk, estranged uncle that he didn't really have a whole lot of connection to, and he didn't really inherit anything else except for this giant Ziploc bag full of multiple Ziploc bags of all of these cut up pieces of paper and handwritten scribbles of different types of recipes that he ended up making. They made a show. His roommate decided to make a show about. It wasn't even him. His roommate's like, this is crazy that you inherited this. I'm going to try to make some of these and I'm going to record it. And it became such a big hit that once they kind of whittled through most of Greg's stuff, they needed more material. So the audience started sending in their dead relatives' recipes for them to make. And they made a show called Dead Greg's Friends. And that is continuing. And it's fantastic. It's a wonderful way to honor people. And
I do think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So this kid is doing something similar in that same vein where, he's honoring his grandfather, who he was probably a little too young to really even understand or know, but he's really connecting with him, which is probably cathartic for the parent, whoever's dad this was, and realizing that I never got to really spend a lot of time with my dad, or my son never got to spend a lot of time with him, but now through this we're kind of reconnecting, and that's incredible. And this kid seems very earnest and genuine about this project that he's taken on. He's got 51,000 followers on Instagram, and so people are catching on to the fact that this kid is actually doing. His grandfather was a bit older than me. Dedicated to the record collection of Ed Savage.
I'll be right back, but I'm listening. But I'll be right back.
Yeah.
He was born in 1955 and he died in 2020. So he was quite a bit older than I am. In fact, he was older than my mother.
He's a couple of years older than my dad.
Yeah. So, but for an old guy, he had really great taste.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's an incredible little project this kid has decided to put together. And, I like watching this. I like watching stuff like this. There was another guy that kind of started this for me, this project for me of kind of finding these pockets of positivity on the internet. And it was this kid who really kind of nervous energy kid who decided to quit his job and buy a sailboat without ever having sailed before in his life, and learn to fix it and put it together. And then him and his cat decided to get on a boat and sail from, I think he was on the East Coast somewhere, to Hawaii, all by himself, having never sailed, and documented the journey until he got there. And there was a couple of times he was in some bad storms and things were breaking down, and everyone just kind of started following his journey, trying to get him to Hawaii, and it was going to take weeks. And I kind of got sucked into that, and you could see the confidence in this kid build as that journey went on. And because he was fixing things as he went. And when I did it by myself, me and my cat, we did it, and he ended up getting there. And then he's picked up so many followers that now he's this big deal. And so now he's bought a bigger boat, sold the one that he had, bought a bigger one, and it's sailing in other areas now. But that's kind of what started this project for me, was the fact that I got invested in this guy's story that was pretty inspirational and was a little pocket of good dopamine on the internet, where we're not always talking about doom and gloom. We're not always getting kind of pulled down into the mire of being black pilled about what the world has to offer via the news cycle, you know? So I really found solace in that, and I found escapism in that. And I was like, you know, and then after that, then I started getting the baseball card stuff and the Dead Greg stuff, and then it just kind of blew up where, like, now I think the algorithm is offering me stuff all the time. It's like, hey, did you see this wholesome content? Check this out, you know. And so and I'm appreciative of that, because, you know, especially locally with the political stuff and just on the world scale, I might the other half of my feed is doom and gloom.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the documenting those things and stuff, like I've been at this since 2015 with the motorcycle stuff. There is no greater character building event than getting on a bike and going from one end of the country to the other, regardless of what circumstance you're going to ride through. And you run into flat tires and run out of gas and blown fuses, and you're stuck. You're just on your ones figuring stuff out. So like, that stuff can be super enjoyable if you have the right frame of mind. It can be miserable if you're not starting off on the right foot, or you don't have people around you. But no, I like that stuff. I appreciate this segment a lot. That said, we end our show as we do with Overlord Tips, dude, number 27, because we don't have a movie review this week.
We don't have a movie review, but I definitely there's 2 movies out that I am looking forward to that are about to come out. And you brought up one of them, which is the new Street Fighter movie. Street Fighter movie looks really good.
Yeah, I wasn't even into that game a whole lot. I played it just because of genre and age, but I'm stoked for the movie too. Like,
it looks like they're doing it right. Like, I'm I'm apprehensive, because every time I get excited about something that looks like they're doing it right, then they end up down. It's a letdown, and they woke it up, or they, like, you know. So I'm not getting too excited. But if
Kathleen Kennedy it.
Yeah, but if I'm looking at the trailer, I'm excited.
Leslie Headland is the executive producer, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like the new I'm really bummed out about the new Iliad movie that's coming out.
The Odyssey.
The Odyssey. Because they've decided to cast, which in the Odyssey there isn't even the character of Achilles isn't in the Odyssey. They're going to have to be backtracking or remembering back to the Iliad, because they've decided to cast Achilles, and they're casting Elliot Page as Achilles.
Wow, we went from Brad Pitt as Achilles to Elliot Page. Oh.
Yeah, also known as Ellen Page. Yeah. So. Yeah. So
no wonder I saw that on my Critical Drinker was on my feed last night, and it had the Odyssey snapshot, and it says, "This isn't going to end well," or something like that. Was his tagline. Is like, I guess I'm not watching that movie. I don't even need to watch his review. I'm guessing something fucked it up, like Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know.
Yeah, and Helen of Troy is like some weird looking, like, black lady instead of, like, the gorgeous blonde that she's always depicted
Helen of Troy is supposed to be.
Yeah. So
you're trying to rewrite history, or just do a different spin on it. I mean,
right.
Keep respinning and rehashing.
The other one that I'm looking forward to that's coming out on June 5th is the Masters of the Universe He-Man movie, which is the first one that they put out since the Dolph Lundgren version, which was horrible. But the trailer looks really good. Like, I actually am probably going to go try to check that out in the theater. And then the Mortal Kombat movie that's out right now is supposed to be really good too. Yeah. It's getting good reviews. So
the Dolph Lundgren one, the only part I remember as a kid was being scared by that weird troll looking dude that was like greasy and just poorly animated, eating chicken KFC.
Yeah,
and just like having KFC all over. That's a horrible memory of that movie.
I didn't know he was part of the Coeur d'Alene Alternative Republican PAC. That's insane. Full circle.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's go. Let's do the Overlord tip of the week. So
every week we teach you, we lay out the blueprint, how to be the best evil Overlord you can be. These are obviously highly satirical in case we get aggregated. But please, what is number 27? How do you get to be the best evil Overlord that you can be, according to the internet?
You know, when you go travel anywhere,
I've done a fair amount.
You always pack extra underwear just in case you shit yourself. Yeah, right. That's why you always pack extra underwear, because you never know, right?
You never know.
And it's always good to be
mentholated dude wipes can't save you, turns out. Go on.
So there's a preparedness that luck favors the prepared, correct? I mean, that's kind of a Boy Scout motto. And so that being said, I will never build only one of anything important. All important systems will have redundant control panels and power supplies. For the same reason, I will always carry at least 2 fully loaded weapons at all times. So never just rely on one, because you need a fail-safe. And it seems to be that is a commonplace mistake, where people will just bring their one favorite thing, and not bring a backup. Always bring a backup, or you're going to shit yourself and you're going to be without your underwear. And
imagine bringing just a SIG 320 and not having a back.
Yeah, right.
A gun that may shoot itself, according to SIG. That's incredible. And you got to have spares. I
always have spares, always have backups. If you have important systems, have redundant ones, have redundant control panels and power supplies. Always make sure that you have a backup. Buy in bulk, do what you got to do, but make sure that you're not leaning on one thing to be the thing that protects you, or the thing that is your attack vector, or anything like that, because it gets ruined and your whole plan goes to shit. So much like your underwear.
They shot the control panel and the shields are down.
Don't worry, I got a backup.
Secret shields.
I guess they've got a torpedo going right down our hole for the Death Star, because our shields are down.
Right. Exactly. So, and that is the Overlord tip number 27.
I love it.
Dig it.
No truer words have been spoken. This, as usual, has been a blast. Paul, keep coming back when you can, dude. This is so much fun.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, we have a pretty short agenda this week, and we still knocked out 2 hours, so it feels good.
Mostly conspiracy theories. Yeah.
Hey, man. Sometimes you got to lighten the load a little bit. But anything you guys need to plug before we head out for this week?
Not as of this week.
Okay.
I don't have anything to plug other than just get in the chat rooms and the social media so that I can talk to you.
Yes, get in there. Get right in there. I may not be potting next week. We will see.
Copy.
But because I have a small amount of time off to put my thoughts in order before a big decision, which I need to leverage. So more to come on that. But this has been a blast as usual. Thank you guys both. For Angel and Paul, I'm lucky. Wait.
I'm Paul.
I'm not lucky. See, I got you guys. No one was paying attention. For Lucky and Paul, I'm Angel. Thank you guys for joining us again on another stream. We'll have the audio out soon. Have an awesome night. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.